Justice Minister Mmamoloko Kubayi calling for a review of the protection measures for witnesses at the Madlanga Commission. This is after the brutal killing of witness D, whose real name is Marius Merwe, working in the private security sector. Merwe was killed days after he appeared at the Madlanga Commission, and that's where there was evidence related to the EMPD and its suspended deputy chief, Julius Mkhwanazi. Joining us now is Raksha Singh Semnarayan, attorney and exco member of Active Citizen Movement. Good evening to you, Raksha. As I talk to you tonight, we are beaming visuals from outside the home of Marius Merwe in Brakpan, and the understanding is that at some point the family of Marius is going to come out and greet members of the public who are streaming into their home to pay condolences. So while we talk to you, we just thought we would also mention that for the viewers so that they are aware of what is going on. So let's come back to the protection of whistleblowers, because that's the purpose of why you are here talking to us. The president yesterday, talking on the back of this tragic killing, he says he wants a swift yet thorough investigation of what has happened here. But add to that, he wants the witness protection program, to quote him, to be taken to a higher level. Does this come a little too late, perhaps, this call? Because the Zondo Commission stressed the importance of the protection of whistleblowers immediately after that commission of inquiry.
Thank you for having me this afternoon. So I represent Active Citizens Network, Active Citizens Movement. In a democracy, citizens normally depend on political parties to represent them, to ensure justice is served, to ensure rights are being effected. In this stage, I think we reached a systemic stage and a state of emergency where we have commissions that where the intent is to deal with corruption so that justice is brought to book and we eliminate corruption, because we see corruption as an obstacle to meeting basic human rights and to ensure that our democracy is a functioning one. So when you have these commissions, and witnesses are key to this, if they do not feel safe and protected so that they could speak the truth and give effect to the intent of these commissions, then it serves no purpose. We have the Protected Disclosures Act, and Citizens Movement, including ACM, have for 2 years written to the president himself, have also written to the Department of Justice, asking for specific amendments to the legislation to ensure that whistleblowers are protected. We also have PRECA, which is also very limited because it applies to employers and employees, but it also doesn't have specific measures to deal with physical protection. So once again, we ask for this matter to be treated as a national priority. Citizens are feeling very uneasy that our democracy and our sense of justice is at risk because there is no law and order, and citizens don't feel safe to disclose truth in fora like the Madlanga Commission. And it's almost shocking that we had Babita Deokaran, who was slain and who sacrificed her life to eliminate corruption, and years after that we still are where we were then. And I think it's time for government to show citizens that they are very serious about this matter and give us a list of practical measures that will be put in place to address this, including amendment to the legislation.
Yeah, I want to latch on to exactly what you are saying, that if people feel that they are not going to be protected yet, they possess information that will be helpful in stopping corruption in places where they work, then it surely is an indictment on the government of the day that if they fear they cannot be protected by that government, what does it tell us about the government itself? If senior officials, particularly in the security sector, admit at these forums that are ongoing that they either took monies or benefits from people that are seen as alleged criminals, what does that tell us about the kind of government we've elected?
It's very sad because we can have laudable principles in our constitution and our government can say it is committed to these principles, but proof of the pudding is in the eating, and we need to develop or have an immediate response that is serious and practical to these issues. And on one of the issues you mentioned, whistleblowers do not always fall within the category of employers. They also could be ex-employers or members of the public, as we've seen in the Madlanga Commission, or related persons who have been part of such acts of corruption. So the extent needs to be widened. There needs to be an independent program that protects witnesses and whistleblowers, and even in the commission, there must be mechanisms that speak to where whistleblowers can't disclose issues without being their names or their identities being published. So I think we need to, legislative reform does take too long, but we are in a state of emergency and there are a few things that government can do practically to ensure that whistleblowers are protected.
Well, let me then pick on that point that you've just made, that there are things that government can do to protect whistleblowers, perhaps outside of the witness protection program. We know now, through the Minister of Justice, who said yesterday that Marius van der Merwe declined to go into the witness protection program, and part of that was that he runs his own security firm. But there are those who say, even with that, there should have at least some kind of surveillance from the police to monitor his movements because of the nature of information he disclosed. And if you read the media reports today, it suggests that this was not the first attempt on his life. There had been previous others just after he had delivered that testimony at the Madlanga inquiry. Do you believe that government should have at least done something still, even though he declined to get into the witness protection program?
Definitely. Irrespective of him saying that he didn't want to have a specific witness protection program for him, I think there was a duty of care to ensure that he had been briefed on the risks that he could face, and there should be some sort of protection of him, even if he refused, even if it was not to the extent of a witness protection program. But as I said previously, there must be mechanisms introduced in these commissions where people can come forward without their identities being disclosed, and this can be used as testimony and evidence. Because what we want from these commissions is full disclosure. The public needs full disclosure as to what happens, and after disclosure, and we need action in terms of what will be done, what are the mechanisms that will be done to address what people specifically had done in their contribution to corruption, but from a reform perspective. How do you fill the gaps in government so that this doesn't recur? And it's no more just an academic argument. It's become real. And this is seen, and I think that the best example to show this is the Department of Health. Our Department of Health is in such a dismal state that basic health care is denied to citizens. Yet we see billions being squandered through corruption. This makes citizens and all of us extremely, extremely angry. And if government does not see the seriousness of the issue and the link between corruption and service and giving effect to constitutional human rights, then we have a big and even bigger crisis.
Raksha, I want to end the conversation on this score, and you say that this is no longer an academic discussion, but it actually is real. Can I ask you a different question as regards the kind of state we have right now? I mentioned to you earlier that senior officials, particularly in the security sector, have admitted to either taking monies or some benefits from people who are awaiting trial, who are suspects. Do we live in a mafia state right now, or you think that that is a bit alarmist?
I think it's not alarmist. We are in big trouble if we do not create some sort of assurance that these issues will be addressed immediately and beyond the commission. We need to see prosecution, and we need to see how the people that are involved give back the money. So we are living in a mafia state currently, and we require immediate action by the president at the highest level, and not just an academic list of things to be done. We need practical measures so that while these commissions are happening, and there's not only the Madlanga Commission, the Madlanga Commission is happening. Parliament has also been having different fora to deal with issues of corruption, and the SIU is also investigating. So there's 3 or 4 parallel processes that are happening. So government needs to identify these processes, and it's not rocket science, and create mechanisms that are made public as to how witnesses will be protected, number one. Number two, what will be done with what government intends doing with that evidence after the disclosures are made, so that people have some sort of assurance that they, even after the disclosures, they will be protected. And that's what justice is supposed to do, and we don't have it now. So the slaying of Witness D, Babita Deokran, and many others, it's become now, it's sad and scary to say that we are going to have the risk of accepting this as a culture. Yeah. And then what will happen? There won't be any disclosures, and the criminals will go on. Active Citizens Movement has, on the day of the International Day of Fighting Corruption, which is the Tuesday the 9th, have created an initiative where between 7 to 8, we request the citizens of this country to light a candle. This will signify that we are aware of the seriousness of corruption in our country, and we are standing in solidarity against it. We will no more tolerate corruption, and we want measures for these issues to be addressed immediately, and for punitive measures to be put in place for people who have benefited from corruption, including measures to fine perpetrators who have killed and harmed whistleblowers and those who have led evidence in these processes. So firstly, we want to create awareness that we will not tolerate corruption. The second thing that we want to do is to show the world a light is symbolic of truth. It's a symbolic of solidarity, that we stand with whistleblowers. We see you, we recognize you, and we thank you for your role that you have played in speaking truth, exposing corruption, and contributing to the well-being and public interest of our country.
All right. Raksha Singh Semnarayan from the Active Citizen Movement, thank you very much for your time.